Kia ora koutou katoa, it's Mrs. Goodson here, and then this is lesson 4 for our biology internal, and it's about how does blood carry oxygen. So, blood is really interesting. There are 4 parts to it. There are red blood cells. Let me get the pen here. So, we've got red blood cells, which look like little plates. There's red blood cells. There are white blood cells, and these are these big cells here. There's a white blood cell. There are platelets, which are these things here, and there's plasma, which is the creamy coloured clear liquid that carries everything. So there's 4 parts to blood and they're all important. So the job of blood or the function of blood is to transport oxygen and nutrients to the cells. It removes waste products. So it takes things to the cells and it takes things away from the cells. Some of the things it takes away from the cells are carbon dioxide, urea, and lactic acid. So there's heaps of chemical reactions happening in all our cells, and so those chemical reactions need reactants or ingredients, and they make things that we need and things that we don't need. And the things that we don't need to be carried away by our blood. So the white blood cells, these are these ones down here, um, have antibodies which defend us from infection and foreign bodies. So they're really, really important. White blood cells always fighting off things that are coming into our bodies, um, viruses and bacteria that might attack our body. Our white blood cells are our defenders. The platelets, these platelets in our blood, are what's clot when we're bleeding. So we might be bleeding inside, or we might have a cut on the outside of our skin, and the platelets in our blood clot and hold form a seal so that no further bleeding will happen. And blood also transports a whole lot of different things like our hormones, which are chemicals released by a cell in one part of our body that send out messages that affect cells elsewhere in our body. So, hormones are little message cells or message chemicals that get sent around our body. So, our blood is carrying everything around our bodies. Okay, and our blood, the little tubes that hold all our blood are called blood vessels. So we're going to focus in on oxygen because we need oxygen for respiration. So we need lots of oxygen, and it's the red blood cells that carry oxygen. And inside our red blood cells, there's a protein called hemoglobin. At the center, this is a picture of a hemoglobin molecule. Okay, it's a protein, and so it's all curled up in a certain shape. At the center of the hemoglobin is an iron atom, Fe. And that's why we need to get iron from our blood to make red blood cells, because we need an iron to keep the protein hemoglobin in the right shape. So there's actually 4 ions in it. This picture is showing them here, 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 and here. Okay. But the main thing you need to remember is that we need to get iron from our food. And if we don't have enough iron, we can't make hemoglobin, and therefore our bloods can't carry enough oxygen and we'll feel tired. Now, not having enough iron is called anemia, and it's more common in women. And so we need to make sure that we're getting iron in our diets so we can make hemoglobin, we can make red blood cells which carry our oxygen so we don't feel tired. So, this video has been about naming the part of blood that carries oxygen, so that's our red blood cells, and linking why we need iron from our food, because the red blood cells have iron and that protein called hemoglobin, and explaining how oxygen gets carried around the body. So, it gets carried around the body by the red blood cells to every single cell in our body. And the next video is about how blood travels around our body.